What's up, nerds and nerdettes? Today we will be going over 5 tips to help you get the best score on your MCAT. Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Carl with a K. If you are new here, welcome. If you're not new here, how? This is my first video. Now you must be thinking, I'm a pretty competent pre-med student. Why should I listen to this guy? I'm smart.
Trust me.
So the MCAT is definitely one of, if not the most difficult tests in your pre-med career. Not only does it test your fundamental knowledge of what you learned during your undergrad, but it also tests your endurance and your work ethic to prepare for the extremely rigorous medical school. On that note, let's jump right into tip number 1. Plan out how and when you're going to study. Set aside about 2 to 3 months before your MCAT test date for balls to the wall studying. No, I'm not saying that you only need 2 to 3 months to study for the MCAT. I'm saying that you need to make sure that you give yourself that amount of time to say goodbye to society, lock yourself up in a room with a gallon of water, a coffee maker, and 15 lines of cocaine. As a matter of fact, let me emphasize that you should do all of your studying prior to these 2 to 3 months to make sure that you are in the best position to begin your life as a hermit. So what do you do in these 2 to 3 months? You can take the first 2 to 3 weeks to pound that material and make sure that you cover as much as you can within that time. For the rest of the 2 to 3 months, you should think about taking those practice tests, as this should eat up a lot of your study time. Leading us to tip number 2. Set up your study space. This means turn your phone off. Text your friends, text your family, text that friend that you made in kindergarten that you haven't seen in years that you will not be available for a while. When you begin these practice tests, make sure that you also recreate the test conditions, such as doing them at the same time that you have the test registered for. Having a quiet place to take that super long practice test and to only take the breaks given on the test will definitely also help. The test is currently broken up into 4 sections. These are currently bio, biochem, orgochem, cars, and psychology. You will be given 2 10-minute breaks and 1 30-minute break, which you should take for the sake of your mental endurance and your sanity. You can, of course, skip these breaks altogether if you just want to soldier through it, build up even more stamina, or if you're just in a solid roll. Once you finish that dreaded practice test, make sure to take the rest of the day off because the next few days are going to be dedicated for review. Reviewing your practice test is going to be a large part of your studying process. This gives you an opportunity to practice active learning by not just reading the questions that you got wrong, but also the ones that you got right. On top of that, you should also read every single answer choice to understand why they are not the right choices. You see what I mean by reviewing takes a long time now? At least in doing this, you're really going to milk the value of these practice tests that you more than likely paid for. On to tip number 3. Decide between studying by yourself or with a group. Decide what works best for you. Each one has its own benefits. When you study by yourself, this offers less distractions, so you have the ability to learn at your own pace. You can also avoid the hassle of rescheduling with your group, which for some people is the difference between studying that day or not. Meanwhile, studying with a group offers the uniqueness of hearing questions you probably wouldn't have thought of, and it provides an opportunity of hearing a different perspective from others. Personally, I think using these 2 techniques will ultimately be to your benefit because the pros of each one will in the end be essential to mastering each topic. Keep in mind though that you should also aim to have a good group if you want to maximize efficiency. Features of a good group include individuals with generally similar levels of understanding. You don't want to be put in a position where you have no idea what the group is discussing, leaving you with a whole day wasted because you spent it thinking to yourself, maybe I should have learned that material. The next one is similar schedules. You don't want to expect to discuss things with your group just to have everything halted because of rescheduling or, pushed back because Zane decided to sleep in that day. Anyway, finally, the same level of focus as yourself. You need to understand that while explaining concepts to others, which is also called the protege effect, can be beneficial to your studying, too much can also be too much. If you find yourself teaching a full course to group mates that aren't putting the same effort, Maybe it's time to find a different group that respects the MCAT the same way that you do. Once you find the perfect group for yourself, you can hold each other accountable and ready to go for tip number 4. Make your study sessions efficient. There are a ton of ways to make your studying better and more efficient. Essentially, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to cut out your distractions, mainly that dinging source of infinite knowledge and entertainment during your studying. Admit it, we've all gotten caught once or twice, or many times, scrolling through our Instagram feeds and watching YouTube videos, just to find about 20 minutes later that hours have already passed. So keep that out of the way until study session is done. Another way to make your study sessions more efficient is by using the magic of spaced repetition. This is a technique to hack the memorization of nearly everything from what DNA stands for to every single step of ATP production. A fantastic tool for that is Anki, which is a tool where you can create note cards and helps you test yourself in a specific time intervals. These intervals increase from 1 day, 5 days to 7 days, even months, depending on the interval modifier that you set as you get a card right. The intervals will also decrease as you get it wrong, so you have the chance to see the card more often. It's very similar to Quizlet, where it uses the same note card concept, but it's a little bit more complicated, so there's a bigger learning curve involved. The upside is that it's a lot more customizable, so you can make more effective cards much easier once you get going. I suggest trying it out sooner than later so you can get used to it, or you can check out my Anki tutorial for tips and tricks to make that learning curve much shorter. Finally, tip number 5. Set aside some time to take care of yourself. Nothing is worse than burning yourself out right before test day, so take some time off to go exercise, breathe some fresh air, maybe even eat a meal or two. And don't psych yourself out. Medical school is tough, the application process is nerve-wracking, and the MCAT will test your willpower. But everything always seems like it's the worst thing when you're right in the brunt of it, and you are the future doctors of America, so dealing with stress is only going to be part of the job. So take care of yourself, be healthy, and be happy. This is the part of the video where I feature one of my artworks over at my Instagram at Carl_Art. What kind of artwork do you think I should make and feature for one of my next videos? Leave a comment down below and I'll pin the comment that gets chosen. If you liked my content and would like to see more of it, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when new videos come out, click that bell icon so you can race for that first comment. What's up, nerds and reviewing? Check out the link above and I'll get it on the or many times. The